The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Before the feast of Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to pass from this world to the Father. He loved his own in the world, and he loved them to the end. The devil had already induced Judas, son of Simon the Iscariot, to hand him over. So during supper, fully aware that the Father had put everything into his power, and he had come from God and was returning to God, he rose from supper and took off his outer garments, and he took a towel and tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and dry them with the towel around his waist. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Master, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered and said to him, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but you will understand later." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "Unless I wash you, you will have no inheritance with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Master, then not only my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus said to him, "Whoever has bathed has no need except to have his feet washed, for he is clean all over. So you are clean, but not all." For Jesus knew who would betray him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." So when he washed their feet and put his garments back on and reclined at table again, he said to them, "Do you realize what I have done for you? You call me teacher and master, and rightly so, for indeed I am. If I, therefore, master and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet. I have given you a model to follow, so that as I have done for you, you should also do." This is the good news of our salvation. We are familiar in the liturgy for Holy Thursday of the washing of the feet. But in the culture of Jesus' time, this was a symbol of something different than the celebration of the Holy Eucharist on Holy Thursday. Because the roads in Palestine at that time were dirty. They were not cemented. And it was the custom to throw everything into the streets. And so your feet would be very smelly and dirty as you walked around. And so usually at a house, if you entered, there would be a basin there and you would put your foot on the basin and wash your own feet. We saw that in the Gospel of St. Luke when Simon the Pharisee invited Jesus. He didn't give him that basin, but the sinful woman washed his feet and dried them with her hair and anointed them. Now Jesus, the Master, is washing the feet of his disciples. In the culture of the time, no slave in a household was told to wash the feet of his master. It was not allowed culturally. It was too disgusting. And the only exception there was to that custom was that a student of a master who was indebted to the master for communicating him the truth and wisdom was indebted. He would humble himself to wash the feet of the master. That's the only instance we know of this cultural custom of washing your own feet. And so we see that Jesus is breaking the mold, the cultural mold of his time, to reveal a new way. At the same Last Supper, Jesus will say, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And it's this Jesus who at this hour, important hour, definitive hour of his life, kneels down and washes the feet of his disciples and takes the towel to dry them. What attitude is this? The new way of life that is not really found in the Old Testament. I came not to be served, but to serve and to give my life for the ransom of many. Here is Jesus again putting into practice what he taught throughout his whole life, especially as we find it in his teaching in the Sermon on the Mount. Forgive those who have hurt you. Even in the Our Father, he says, forgive us our sins as we forgive others. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hurt you. This is the way of life that leads to truth and to life, vitality. But now, Jesus begins the process not only of teaching this, and in general sympathizing with those who are alienated, victims of evil, but he's putting it into practice as a great teacher, not only telling us what is true, but implementing the truth in his own life. This is the first stage of Jesus entering in to the realm of evil to bring healing in death. The beginning that will continue in the next phase of his Paschal mystery, when he will fall into the abyss of human misery, being tortured to death. And it's the same Jesus who washed the feet of his disciples who will tell the Father, forgive them, they know not what they are doing. This is the Jesus who loves us, is alive and present in our lives and in our hearts.